Hello everyone, Future Mike back at it again, also known as Editing Mike, here to tell you, welcome to the build video. Now in this video we'll be doing a build and we'll be doing a bit of a race between my old laptop that I was using for editing and the new desktop, which, spoiler alert, does get built and does run. Alright, all the reading bits have been skipped over, so we're going to open up the case and install the motherboard. Some of these do a lock so that they can't fall away. I'm not terribly surprised that the cheaper case does not have that feature. There are innards. Lots of cables here. Oh, I hope with labels. So the fans have their own power connectors. I don't know how to do any of this, so let's see if I can make an absolute fool of myself. So, as I said, we're going to go for the motherboard first. I don't know if you can see. Probably not, but that is the nature of this beast. Let's see here. Try to give you a good view. It's a little challenging in this environment. I feel like there should be standoffs on the other side because this is just kind of wobbling in here, which does not seem correct. Good news is there's a CMOS battery in here, so that's one thing we will not have to worry about. I was concerned. The trouble is that I don't see how this is going to work. So this case has these two standoff pins which raise the board up and keep it from coming into electrical contact with here. My concern is that there really should be two more of these. So let's see what the manual says. So it says that it comes with standoffs quantity 7. Maybe. Aha! Haha! Hidden in plain sight as always. That's making much more sense. Gonna end up having to go for a pair of pliers here, I think. We'll put these in these little holes here. It's a little cramped in here, but that's what it costs to do a nice small case. So, we need to install our standoff pins so that we can have the board be actually not touching. So we'll need here and here. My pliers are stainless steel, the pins are brass, so there is a little bit brass filing now at the bottom. That's not fantastic. Let's see where the board wants to put holes through. So this board goes all the way down to here. So I'm guessing we're going to need the risers over here too. Ah, they actually have a little tool in here. I did not need my fancy pliers. I could have just used a screwdriver because they have this nifty little tool. This is much easier than what I was doing. Oh yeah, that's night and day. Okay. It's like following the instructions helps. I don't know, weird. Now it's saying we need one here and we need something else up here. Nope, same thing. Just looks different. It looks like they gave us a spare of these, just in case someone like me loses them. I don't know why they think I'd do that. Is it obvious this is my first build? Because it feels like it's obvious. Now we put the board over it, and we've got M's 3 star 5 screws. So that's something. Okay, so now when we put the board in, it should be level, which would be nice. Nice and stable and positively affixed. We line everything up. That looks good. Nice. Beauty. Alright. Okay, that looks good. Right, so next step is going to be securing the board down. I believe we will require this style of screw. So let's see if I am correct. People talk about needing those static guards. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. I am currently electrically grounded by touching the case, which is on the desk, which is grounded. So I am not terribly concerned. Evidently I have grabbed the wrong style screw because it does not fit nicely. So I'm going to guess again. Ah, that fits nicely. So that is definitely the one. I do wish that they would separate these screws a little better because they are very, very difficult to tell apart at this scale. They look very similar to each other. They're not marked in any way. It's very difficult to tell them apart. Either that or I'm a total amateur, which is also true, but should not be the biggest problem. Now, God only knows where this plugs in. I do not know where that plugs in. I'm going to have to figure that out, and right now it is irritating me because it is in the way of what I'm trying to do. So I'm going to end up probably untying that from itself, just so I don't have to get it in my way. So let's do that. It's possible I missed one because there's a hole here that doesn't seem to go down to anything and the board seems to be flopping in the breeze. So I'm going to do that right now. All right, this is a learning process. I do not know what I'm doing, so I'm here to learn. This is Interesting Things Weekly, not Expert Things Weekly. Going back a step a bit here. So we gotta put a standoff here as well. That is even better than it was before. There we go, beauty. This is a very tight space to be working in. We wanted a nice small computer. Why did it have to be a small computer? All this stuff's gotta get plugged in somewhere. I just don't have the slightest clue where. That must be the wrong freaking size. This is good and stuck. I think I've managed to install the wrong size screw in this hole, and I don't think I can get it off of there. When in doubt, pull it out. So that's what we're gonna do. All the other ones went fine, but this one has to fight with me. This will be the most secure board I've ever had in my life by the time I'm done. Kids, don't do it this way. Make sure you sort your screws before you try to use them. Stressful little build, ain't it? So, now we've got, through process of elimination, we've found all of our screws. Okay, now we're getting back into it. Okay, all those are in. My God, the board is secured. That took 20 friggin' minutes. No, that took 34 minutes. My God. Okay, moving along. Board is in. Next step. Now, I am gonna have to worry about where these all go. We don't have much in the way of labeling. This is all the front panel stuff. So this is HD audio, USB, and USB 3.0. So I guess those will just hook in, like, obviously. I think I'm gonna hold off on these. The case fans over here. Again, these cables are better off out of my way at the moment. I'm guessing these hook in somewhere on the board, and I just haven't figured out where. I will find it. It's each of these little cables here. We've got HDD LED, power SW, so that's power switch, reset switch, plus P and minus P LED. I don't know what any of that means. I think this just hooks directly into the power supply, so I'm guessing if the computer is on, these fans are on, which is a little bit of a bummer. I would hope for something a little fancier. So that means it's going to be a constant level of noise, even if I got a quiet cooler internally, which is, you know, blah. So this is a ridiculously awesome looking cooling device. My God, what a beast. It is a lot bigger than I thought it would be, but that's ultimately a good thing because big fan equals more heat dissipation equals more power. I have no idea what I'm doing. So this doesn't have any plugs. Looks like they may be covered. Yes, okay. So it looks like RGB. That is not this connector for that. This appears to be the connector for the fan. I'm not quite sure how the cable management is meant to work here. It's going to be a mess. I do not know what I'm doing, so it's going to be ugly. SPK PLED1. Don't know what that is. Everything's abbreviated, which is fine if you know what all the abbreviations mean. So we're going to do the CPU next. Here we are. We've got our CPU in. Now, problem is, I do not see the thermal solution that was supposed to come with the processor. So yeah, that's a problem. Is that it? Is that all you need? Oh yeah, that's it. Okay, well, I wasn't expecting that. So I guess I learned that today. My God, that is massive. Oh my goodness. Okay, this one goes down like that. Just gotta get this hooked down. Very finicky little thing. Don't want to damage anything for sure. That is a scary fit right there. Okay, cooler is affixed. My God, what a monster this is. Beauty though. Alright. Now, according to the instructions for the CPU, plug in fan header. Well, that's specific. Now, somewhere on here, on this side, are RGB headers. Now, this is kind of a waste because RGB inside a case without a side panel is invisible, but I'll know it's there, and that's kind of cool. My Windows laptop, which is closed, just turned itself on and then back off. So that's distressing. CPU fan 1, here we go. Plugging that in this very tight spacing here. Okay, CPU fan 1 is plugged in. That looks good. Now, I'm going to plug in the RGB headers. Now, there's RGB header 1 and AMD fan LED 1, so I'm guessing this is fan LED 1. So this is USB header option versus RGB header option, so I don't think I actually need the USB one. So we're going to just unplug that. I think what I'm going to do next is the NVMe, because that is very hard to get to and only going to get worse. So let's do that now. Now there should be a screw that came with the motherboard for this, which I do have. Okay, the NVMe is seated. Yay. Now, I will do the RAM next because that is getting similarly difficult to access. Now again, I didn't go RGB because it was like $10 or $20 cheaper and I can't see inside a dark case, so it didn't matter. Nice and gentle. As you do. Despite the name RAM, you want to be gentle with it. That's not locking down, so I'm going to have to give it a little more of that. There we go. That's the click we want. Okay. Now, we're going to install the video card, I guess. This is a pretty card. Remove protective film before use. You bet. Let's see. I don't want to do it on this slot because that will completely cover all of these headers that I need here. So I'm gonna have to do it in this one. So we're gonna have to take out those two screws there and remove the panel covers. We'll just twist this. My God. I think the Hulk did this. I think I have removed the wrong panel. Oh man. Well, this is a learning channel. We're gonna learn today. Well, I'll just move this one over. They're all identical anyway. That's better. That's better. Okay. That was fun. Oh, let's go back to the card. Okay. That looks right. And that's the satisfying click we were hoping for. Man, this is tight. If I needed to get any other PCIe card in here, it would be right against the fan for this. Because this takes up 2 slots, and the only slot that fits, something that fits 2 slots, is here, in the middle. So, yeah, that's awful, actually. So, I'm glad I only need the one. Now we're gonna do the power supply. This should be fairly straightforward. My next concern here is that the fan for the power supply is on the bottom. And that's okay, that's fine. It's just we definitely need to make sure that we're doing this in a place where there's actually airflow underneath this. Otherwise, we are going to have problems. So now, according to the manual for the case, installing, moving side panel, blah, 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 power supply. Okay, so this is the front panel stuff. So we've got this, which is HD audio. Now this one has a missing pin, so this is just going to go over here where it says HD audio. Alright, next, this is the USB 3, which is right here, so we'll just go ahead and plug that in. Again, a lot of this is just making sure the correct number of pins go into the correct number of holes, and it only fits one way, so you can't really screw it up. I'll find a way, don't worry, but you shouldn't be able to screw it up. That's the point. Okay. I'm still confused about these fans. Now,
We got the chassis fan 1, chassis fan 2. So chassis fan 2 has 3 pins. Chassis fan 1 has 4. That does not make sense to me. Let's take a look at the front one. Now, this is also 3. So this obviously is going to fit here like this. But as for the first one, I am somewhat baffled. Not gonna lie. So this one, it must be here, but it has an extra pin, which is deeply concerning to me, because that would be the only one that doesn't seem to line up. Huh. Very, very strange. There are no other chassis fan connectors here. Well, chassis fan 1, man, you're gonna go in a weird way, I guess. It only seems to fit one way, so I'm gonna do it. I don't know if it's gonna work. We're gonna have to check that out. The chassis fan 1 has 4 pins because the 4th pin, which is optional, is the fan speed control, which we don't have. It has 1 speed, on or off, and that is fine. That is fine that way. We like it that way. That's how we do. Now I'll need to be careful that none of these cables get whacked into the fan blades on anything, because there will be moving parts. Now I'm guessing VGA is graphics, so that would make sense to me. That's my best guess, which is the closest thing to an expert opinion I will have access to at this hour. Does this look right? No, it does not. Okay, so that's wrong. So we need to find the power cable that looks like that. Power cable looks like that. Are these? What the hell are these? So this is periph. What is periph? Peripherals, I guess? I'm kind of surprised. I figured there would be a dedicated GPU looking thing here. So that's a little surprising. But again, it only fits one way, so it has to be correct. Now, it's just these guys, these system panel things. These are going to be a little weird to try to figure out. So, according to the manual for the board, system panel, that's what we're looking at. Cables everywhere. Kind of a mess. Alright, so we got these system stuff things. Power switch. P, LED, plus and minus are the first 2 pins. So that's the weird ones that I don't know what they do. There we go. Those are in. Next 2, ground and dummy. So I don't think we need those at all. Now we need power button number. I've never seen a machine with more than 1 power button, so I'm not quite sure why you'd need to number them. I don't know what they think I'm building with this crazy thing. HD LED plus and minus. So this is HD LED plus minus. So that will be plus on the left, underneath the ones we just installed. There we go. And the next one, ground, power button. So that seems pretty obvious. That's the reset switch. So this will be the power button, which is very important because you can't really test it otherwise. Next is the reset and power button. Okay. Oh boy. Well, this has been fun. Last thing is the power supply. So let's plug everything in before we try to actually install it. And we'll work on the cables as we're doing this. So let's plug in the big monster first. Motherboard. This is the video card, so it goes peripheral. So I'm guessing it's only going to fit in one spot, and it's going to be one of these. So I'm going to say it's in the SATA slot. That fits. Curious if it would also fit. Yeah, it also fits in PATA. Fascinating. Well, it's going in the SATA hole. That's what's happening. Next, the 12 volt DC to the CPU 1. So that's this one right there. Okay. Get these cables out of the way. Oh boy. Oh, that's a tight fit. Oh my. Alright, well, it's all in there. It might be a cabling mess, but it's all in there. This looks like it'll be okay. Not a mess. I think I'm gonna use one of those zip ties that it came with. Now this power supply needs to be screwed in with the screws that fit it. Okay, time to screw this in. Let's get these screws installed. Could it be that I have this upside down? No, the fan is on the bottom. That is exactly how it is supposed to be. That's looking much better. Oh, that's much better. Now, I will uncover the DVI-D port because that is the one which we shall be using this evening. Although, if we have an HDMI up there, aha, we do. So we'll use that instead. I won't have to change my connector. Ooh, I never put this panel in. Looks like I should have done this first. That's alright, we'll make it work. Don't think I can make it work. Okay. Don't think I can do it that way. I don't think I can sneak it in without taking this fan off. I think if I can get it through this side maybe, because I really don't want to try to take the board off now. I'll just try to stick this panel through. This is so not going to work. But I have to try. No. Okay. This is not... Okay. In order to get this on there, I'm gonna have to take the whole thing off. But I won't have to take many of the components off. I don't think I can access all the screws. Now this is one of the first mistakes I made and the last to notice. Yeah, it just has to go in the other way. So I think I can see a bunch of these screws. Yeah, the video card is definitely covering one of them. I messed this up good. Okay. So the video card's got to come out. Okay, now I can actually access all the screws. So I have a chance. Alright, all 8 screws have been removed from the motherboard, which can now move freely-ish, and we're gonna move it out of the way of where we need to stick. Oh, the video card is down. Oh, it hurts, but it landed on the plastic, so we're good. So we're gonna stick the panel in. There we go. There we go. Nope, not quite. Okay. Okay. 2 screws are down. I think I've got it. Maybe. Very thin metal, so I gotta be careful. That sounded correct. That's a good sound. Okay, that is in. That looks much, much better. That is much, much better. Okay. Whew. That sucked. Next, we put all the screws back carefully. Well, the screw is under the board now. Come on, greasy fingers. Had it. There we go. I knew these were an asset. This thing better work. I don't have the patience for anything else anymore. Now we'll put the video card back in, and I can turn the case to get the other screws out from underneath the motherboard. If I need to, I will open the case from the other side. I would prefer to avoid this, of course. Alright. There we go. That's one. That's one. The other one's in there. Oh, wait, I can see the other screw. I dropped it again. There we go. Got it. Great. Final screw going in. Yes. Okay. Great. Good. Excellent. Now, we can put this panel back on. Now, I don't know what happened to those screws. They're around here somewhere. There's one. Just got mixed up with everything else. Poor things. And that's that. All right. Oh. Well, this has been a nightmare, but it's all buttoned up. Now we gotta plug it in, power it on, see if it works. Now this monitor has HDMI. Now at minimum we will need a keyboard. And last, the power cable. Okay, whole thing is plugged in. So, moment of truth. All right, let's see what happens. Power supply is disabled, so I will enable it before trying to push the power button. Okay, power supply should have power. Now we push the button. Ooh, that's good sound. Okay, okay. Does not appear to be getting a video signal. Oh, hey, okay. That's good. Had something. F2 for UEFI, yeah, okay. Well, let's try that reset button. Flashes so quickly that I can't quite tell what it's telling me to press. So we'll try F2. Aha, there we go. Okay, processor speed, 16 gigs of RAM, that's a good sign. It's running the RAM at 2133, so I think we can go faster, but I don't want to start messing with those things until we know it actually boots. But hey, this is good. It means the video card is working too, because I can see it, and it's coming out of that, so looks good. Okay, looks good. Hardware monitor. CPU temperatures, we've got temperatures, so that's always good. Looks good. Okay. Okay. Okay, so it is detecting the Samsung drive there, so NVMe looks good. Okay. Alright. Okay, I like this. So, build is successful. Let me just double check that all of our fans are actually working. It does come up on there, but I don't know. Ooh, the RGB is going, so that's pretty fancy. So that fan's going, that was the one I was worried about. And front panel one, can't tell without taking the chassis off. So I'm going to take that off while it's running, because that's the only way to check. Nice and careful. Okay, all the fans are working. That is a beautiful thing that I was not expecting to happen. Thing of beauty. Okay. This is by far the most powerful and quietest computer I've ever owned. And that's all for this evening. I have to work tomorrow. The hardware is all working and I can get into the BIOS. I have to double check that the version I have is the most up to date. But hey, it turns on. That is more than I was expecting on a first build. And I am thoroughly happy so far. It's a little frustrating, some of the things I messed up, some of the things that weren't totally clear in the instructions, but hey, that's why we're here. We learn. And tomorrow I will be setting up some software on here and we're going to get stuff going and it's going to be fun. So stay tuned. Alright, so now it's time to do the final bits. We want to make sure that our RAM speed is correct because AMD processors are a little finicky with that.
and we're going to install our operating system, and then we're going to have a little race between the laptop I'm currently using for video exporting and the new one. So we'll see what happens, and here we go. So when I booted this up the first time, I was looking in through the BIOS and I noticed that it was running the RAM at 2133 megahertz. Now, as I understand it, that's the fallback mode for all DDR4 chips. Now, what we want, since it's 3000 megahertz RAM rated, I would like to get it up to 2933, which is apparently there's some division thing, I assume it's dividing by 3 instead of 2 or something. I don't fully understand RAM speeds. All I know is that you can't do a 3000 megahertz RAM setting on an AMD chip. You can do 2933. So that's what I'm going to do, because it's not technically overclocking, it's technically underclocking, but it is rated for 3000 megahertz, and that's what we want to go for. So as close to that as we can get faster RAM speeds out of it, faster speeds overall by doing that. So I've elected to go with Kubuntu on this because I just happen to like the KDE environment better, and I was originally going to install regular Ubuntu and then put the Plasma desktop on top of it, but I didn't like the way that it worked. I didn't like the idea of having to maintain 2 different desktop environments. I just decided to go with Kubuntu. Now, we're going to stick this into this computer. In the meantime, I'm going to load up the last video that I made on this computer, which was the video on miscellaneous. So we're going to do that. Okay, we've pushed the power button on the beast. Let's see what we got. Okay, looks like we've posted, and we are indeed loading up the OS installer for Kubuntu. So, we're going to just install Kubuntu. Now this monitor definitely needs to be replaced. It's got only 1050 instead of 1080, and I don't exactly know what the refresh rate is, but either way, it's not a great panel. I don't love it, but I was gifted this by a friend, and I'm ready for an upgrade. So it's already 63% completed while I was entering all of that, so that's pretty good. I don't think I've seen an operating system installed that quickly before. I think we're limited by the read speed of the USB 3 at this point. So these fans are a little louder than I would like, but this is pretty much as loud as it will ever get, which is pretty good. And it's not going to stay on top of the desk, so that'll do something to help a little bit. I am concerned about putting it on the floor in here because it is carpeted. I'm concerned about airflow. I might put some sort of slab under it or something at some point. If it gets to be a problem, but we'll see if the feet that came with the case raise it up enough to have enough airflow for it to not be a problem. I ultimately decided to not go with Windows on this build because it costs money, and everything I'm doing I can do in Linux with no problem. I've never actually had a full-time dedicated Linux machine before. I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's going to create problems for things like streaming and gaming, but I'm hoping that it will be sufficient for what I actually need to do, or that I can figure out a way to make it work. Okay, looks good. So now it's going to restart. So now the next thing I want to show you here is what I had to do to get the RAM to go at the correct speed. So in the latest version of this BIOS for this motherboard, there's this panel called OC Tweaker, which you can't see. So down here, I had to manually set, this was set to auto, and I had to select XMP 2.0 Profile 1. And then I was able to select the DRAM frequency of 2933 megahertz, which is what we wanted, and that automatically adjusted the voltage to the correct level of 1.35, which matches the specs on PC Part Picker, and so everything is working, and I have verified that it is working at that speed when it is running. So we can discard our changes since I didn't actually change anything here, and boot into the regular operating system. Now I'm going to copy the project files off of my other machine onto this. Alright, those are copied now. Okay, so open up the export tab here, get the same settings as we have on the other machine. We're going to call this miscellaneous test. We're going to set up the same thing on the other machine. So now I've got the system monitors going on both, so we want to see how we're doing. I want to also display the jobs list, but that's okay. So I'm going to click save simultaneously on both of these. Now, it doesn't really matter since we're going to be comparing time-wise anyway. And here we go. So, this is the jobs over here. So that's going well. Let's see how our system monitor is liking this. Aha, we are hitting it at 100%. It's like all the cores are hanging out over there. Now this one, we've got same thing, 100% utilization. Now this one's saying the estimated time remaining for the export is about 7 minutes. This one's saying it's about 3. So it's pretty much a factor of 2 faster, which I was hoping for 4, but I recognize that that's not realistic with how things scale for that algorithm. The fan's going on this one, but the desktop fan is still nice and quiet, so that's always good. Still hovering around 100%. This thing will throw as many threads at it as it can take, and we've got 16 to work with. So this is 23% done with 2 minutes and 49 seconds remaining. This one's still chugging away at 12% with 6 minutes and a half left. I think we know who's gonna win. This is gonna make video exports significantly faster for me. So we're halfway done over here with 1 minute and 46 remaining, and we're about 28% over here with 5 minutes remaining. So it's not quite a factor of 2, but it's pretty close. Why am I about to be signed out? Thanks, Windows, for making this decision even more clear. So yeah, CPU's hovering around 100%. Up and down, hereabouts. 67%. Now this is a 2 minute and 15 second video, and it takes like 3 or 4 minutes on the new system with all those cores to export it. On the old system, well, it's a little slower. Those extra threads are really helping out here. We're just hanging out at 100% over here. Oh, 98%, 99. Done with 3 minutes and 40. So that's pretty darn good. Over here, we're still at 53%. So again, not quite a factor of 2, but well, that's pretty close. And look at it level off when it's done processing the video. Straight back down. So we are now at 65% with 2.5 minutes remaining, more or less. So yeah, CPUs are all hanging out at 100%. We're topped out at 3.08 gigahertz. This theoretically has a higher speed than that, but I think it's thermal throttling at that level. And that's about what it normally maintains when the fans are going like this. Okay, about a minute remaining. So yeah, normally my process is to just let this machine render overnight, basically. Particularly for the longer videos like the X-Files and things like that. Normally I don't want to sit here and wait around for it to do its thing, because that takes quite some time. Alright, there you have it. Final time, 6 minutes 48 seconds with 4 threads, and with 16, 3 minutes and 40. Almost a factor of 2. So I would call this a successful test, and I will be using this machine to export all of my videos going forward. And yeah, I don't see why I would not do that, considering the speed difference. This is as loud as this machine gets. And that's not so loud. Apparently my Windows machine has decided it's going to shut itself down right now, so guess that's the end of the video, and making an excellent case for me not to use Windows going forward. That and the fact that like my machine died for 2 weeks. So I'm glad this is my primary driver now. Very happy. So yeah, that was fun. I wanted to have room to grow with this machine. I wanted to be able to add stuff later on, possibly extra hard drives, because, you know, one NVMe stick is not really going to be perfect for the lifetime of something like this, especially if I do some gaming on it. You know, 256 gigs goes a long way, but it is not enough for some games. So far, the overclocked RAM is working out just fine. I'm debating doing some overclocking on the CPU as well, but I think I'll leave that alone for the time being. I don't want to break anything. That could be a pain. I'm a little put off by some of the design choices, which I know are completely my fault. I'm a little concerned about adding other cards in later on or things like that, blocking off ports and things like that. It's not as expandable as I'd hoped for, but hey, I can make it work. That's the beauty of building your own machine, is that you are in control of what goes into it. But at minimum, for the setup I was hoping to be able to do, which was to improve my video editing capabilities, I think mission accomplished. I am very happy with this build. I'm so happy that everything worked out of the box the first time, even if I struggled to figure out how to put it all in there. I have some software stuff to work out. Working with Ubuntu can be hit or miss with some things. Eventually, I'd like to use this machine for game captures or something like that, although I could use my laptop for that. It really is going to come down to which operating system is best to work with, because my laptop has a Windows 10 license, and I don't feel like buying one for this machine. I am perfectly happy to work in Ubuntu, it's just not 100% compatible with all the things I would need to do certain game capture type stuff, as far as I know. I will be doing some research into that. Maybe I'll put up some videos about it in the future. But for now, I have a working Linux desktop that easily outpaces my laptop that I was using for video production. So this is going to be a much better system for me overall, I think. And we'll see where it goes. And overall, I'm just really pleased. And this was an adventure, and it was fun, and I learned stuff, and I am happier for it. And I hope you enjoyed it as well. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you'll come back again next week when I put up another video that I hope you'll find interesting. Until then, stay curious.